Hey, what's up everybody? You're watching Ready Set Drone, and today, in this case right here, we have a brand new Tiny Whoop racing quad from Emax. Emax sent this to us and we're gonna check it out, so stay tuned. What I have here is the Emax Tiny Hawk Nano Scout. It's a little analog FPV racing quad that uses ELRS and is a good balance between performance, speed, and durability. Emax was very clear that they didn't want to build a quad that was too light and too breakable, but at the same time wanted it to be light enough that you could race with it, you could rip around inside, and have a lot of fun with it. So one of the innovations that Emax has come out with is the EM 2.0 connector here on the end of these batteries. Now, why would a connector make any difference? According to Emax, this is going to give you more even and consistent power as you're flying. And Emax has made these connectors open source so that anybody else who is making tiny whoops in this space can use this connector. I don't have a lot of experience with these new connectors, but I know that they were trying to evolve beyond the old style connectors, the PH2 connectors. So we'll see how that goes. In the kit, you get an ELRS radio like this, and they labeled all the switches. The switches are already pre-bound to the quad. The switches are already assigned to do different things. So you don't even really have to go into Betaflight to do any changing to this quad. This Emax controller also has the ability to add a screen to it. If you wanted to actually mount the screen on it, you can do that. But if you want to wear goggles, Emax has provided these box goggles that pull out so they get a little further away from your eyes so you can see them well enough, and have the standard magnetic connector here that allows you to put this on, close it up, and you hopefully get tight light seal so you don't get a lot of light leak. And when you're looking through them, you're gonna be able to see it pretty well. They're not the best goggles in the world, but again, for a ready to fly kit right out of the box that's low cost and analog, they're gonna do just fine. So, one thing, I have actually turned the quad on and already seen that everything was pre-bound. We charged up the batteries, and we also saw that the goggles were already on the right channel, so we could see the camera in the quad. The radio was already bound, the buttons were already assigned, so everything's pretty much ready to go out of the box. I will say that with these new connectors, there is a right way and a wrong way to connect it. You can try to do it backwards. There's a flat side and a curved side. So make sure you put your curved side to your curved side and your flat side to your flat side when you turn it on. Make sure you have your radio on, make sure your throttle stick is all the way down, and then you can turn on your goggles, which is this button over here on this side. So I'll go ahead and turn these on. Yes. And then of course, it wouldn't be an Emax experience without the peeling off of the protective screen. So now let's put these in here. I did notice that magnets on this are not as strong. It's like there is a magnetic force that holds it, but you've got to kind of push it in to seal it and make sure it stays in place. So when I turn this on, I immediately already see the camera, so I can see myself there. Let me go ahead and see if I can hit record on the recorder. There is an R button, and when you hit record, it should start blinking. And that means the camera is recording and you can fly. So you need to put your own SD card into the goggles. And I will say it's a pretty clear picture. Currently I'm on raceband 4. And again, this is supposed to be a little racer. So I think the idea with it is to go kind of fast. Try not to hit anything. Yeah, kind of zips. So the picture's got a little breakup, analog breakup like you might expect. Again, I'm flying in angle mode, so it's pretty easy.
That was a nice gap.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm kind of pressing my luck a little bit. Ooh.
What do you think of the sound?
It's not bad. I mean, I haven't flown a Tiny Whoop in a while, but it's not a bad sound. It's fairly pleasant,
to the ear. Oh, there's a bar there. Wow, it flies really nice, actually. I mean, again, I'm flying in angle mode, but I guess I can put it into horizon mode. Gonna go a little faster. I guess I could try it in manual. Yeah, the roll rate is really slow. That's just a setting that you could change in Betaflight. Yeah, the roll rate is pretty slow right out of the gate.
So in the kit, you get a 6-way charger that charges this new battery, and it's got some nice blinking green lights to indicate when it's charging. I think green means that it is charging, and when it goes out, it means it's fully charged when there's no light. So you can see in there, maybe there's 2 little green lights that are glowing. That's indicating that these are charging. The battery charger itself uses a USB-A port, which is pretty standard for this kind of thing. The controller has a USB-C port to charge, and it comes with a USB-C cable. The drone itself has a USB-C port on the flight controller so that you can plug it into Betaflight, which is great. But the goggles are still micro USB. Boo, 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 boo. Why can't we just make it all one cable? Change it out, guys. Come on, let's make it all USB-C. That would be just wonderful. But my first flight just now was great. I actually really enjoyed flying it around in here. The gaps you can hit with it are pretty easy because it is so small and it's pretty maneuverable, and the controller's really not a bad controller for, you know, something that's inexpensive in a ready-to-fly kit. This controller does pretty well. The roll rate was a little slow for doing a flip, but maybe that's intentional if you're gonna be racing with it. Maybe that's to keep you from going too fast when you're in manual mode. After having flown digital for a while, like going back to analog, it's not the prettiest view. We're getting some breakup and such. But for in here, if it's a well-lit room, it seems to be okay. Oh, low battery.
Oh.
Maybe I got the wrong one.
Wow.
That was lucky. So I like it's just a little white rubber band on the bottom with 2 hooks. Very easy to get the battery in, and it's gonna stretch for a bigger battery or a slightly different shaped battery, which is nice. Haven't tried tilting the camera. Oh, but it feels like you can pretty easily tilt the camera with your fingers. It's got some little screws on the side, so if you wanted to loosen them to get more tilt or less tilt, you could do that. Okay, so I'm in air mode. Gonna go ahead and give it a try. And yeah, it's definitely a little bit faster and easier to get out of control. All right, I am flying in air mode indoors, which is never an easy endeavor. Oh, geez. All right. So I'm gonna try the beeper, which I don't think I hear it.
I can barely hear it from like 6 feet away.
Yeah, here, I'll bring it over. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so it's a very quiet beeper. It's off. It's on. Yeah, that could be turned up a lot. So we could try, see how it does in turtle mode. So crash flip switch. Hey, I'm still in air mode. And here I go. Here's the thing. This is really small, and this is something you could fly literally anywhere, right? You could fly this in a hotel room, you could fly this in a small bedroom, and it's not gonna hurt anything if you bump into it. Yeah, I think this is a good learning quad to maybe learn to fly FPV with, but it's just, the image quality is just so much less than what you get with really anything else.
Right.
Analog is just, you know, it's sort of the bottom of the barrel as far as image quality goes. This is a blast to fly. I haven't flown an analog Tiny Whoop in a long time, and Tiny Hawks have always been kind of a fun way to get into flying FPV. The thing is, if you've gotten spoiled like I have flying digital, going back to analog feels like a big step backwards visually, but if you're just flying for fun and you're just trying to poke around and hit some gaps or race with your friends who are also flying analog, because analog plays well with analog, especially on the race bands, it's a pretty good little guy for doing that. It's durable. You know, we've crashed it a couple times already and there's not any sort of indication about any damage or anything like that. The flight time's decent for these little small 1S batteries, and it's very much turn it on and start flying. There isn't a whole lot to set up with it. It's literally already bound to the radio. It already has a channel figured out on the goggles, and if it doesn't, you just push scan on the goggles while it's on and it'll see it and start, you know, pick up and start giving you the signal. It's a glitchy, staticky kind of signal that you're seeing, but that's how analog has always been, especially when you're only dealing with a 25 milliwatt transmitter like this. I think we could maybe bump it up to 100 or 200 in the goggles. We should look and see if we can do that, and that might give you a clearer signal. But at 25 milliwatts, which is what you'd be doing racing with friends, it's definitely a staticky signal. You want to fly in a place with plenty of light because this is not a low light camera. But as you could probably see from the footage, I could hit tons and tons of gaps and fly through things very easily. And if I didn't make it, I crashed into it, this isn't going to damage anything. This is so lightweight. This is like a noodle flying around the room. So what they said to do to change the transmission power of the VTX is to hold down this center button right here. It's right in the middle above where the battery goes, and you can feel it go in with a pen and plug in the battery at the same time. What we think is the case is when you do what I just did by holding down the button with a pen and plugging it in at the same time, it unlocks the ability to change your transmission power. And now I'm going to try and go in my menu now. So I'll go down to features, I'll go to VTX, I'll go down to power, I'll switch it to 400, and then I'll go to save, and then confirm yes, and then I will go back here, and then go save and exit again. So now it says 400 in the top right, and we switched it over there, and now we're going to see if it looks any different when we fly. Okay, so it's a couple of days later, and we realized in editing the video that we actually had scanned and ended up with the goggles on the wrong frequency. We were on raceband 4 instead of E4 when we did the comparison between 25 milliwatts and 400 milliwatts. So now we want to make sure we're on E4 at 25 milliwatts and then E4 at 400 milliwatts so we can do an apples to apples comparison. So let's give it a shot. So now we are on E4 25 milliwatts, and we're going to go ahead and take off. I'll fly in angle mode again, and I'll do the same route. Whoop, try not to hit the lights. And it's looking pretty good for analog. You know, kind of what you'd expect out of an analog signal at 25 milliwatts. And definitely more breakup as we go through the office with the wall in between us. But very flyable. Okay, and just to confirm, I'll go ahead and look one more time. I'll go into features, I'll go into VTX, and yes, we are at 400 on Boscam E4. So flying at 400 milliwatts, kind of hard to say with the kind of flakiness you get with analog goggles, especially box goggles, but right now, okay, I'm getting more dropout in here, but not as much as before, I don't think. We'll have to confirm that when we view the footage. Smile, you're flying a drone. All right, so that was 400 milliwatts versus 25. So after those two flights on E4, both of them on E4, 25 milliwatts and 400 milliwatts, I think the 400 milliwatts look better, but we need to look at the footage to be sure. Okay, so as a final test, we wanted to fly it outside. These little tiny whoops are usually designed to be flown indoors, but we're gonna see how this one does outdoors just for fun. It's a very calm day, and hopefully we can get a little fun flight and just kind of see what kind of little ripping I can do. Oh yeah, actually with no wind, it's pretty good. I mean, look at it go. And so it's kind of ripping a little bit. Yeah, this is oh, the rates are very slow, so if you try to flip, have a little bit of altitude before you try to flip. All right, here we go. Ooh, there's a little wind pushing me. Can I do this? Oh, nope. Sure can't. Sorry. All right, one more try. Gonna try that again. All right, I'm gonna try roll one more time. Yeah, definitely. If you're gonna try to flip or roll, you're gonna want to change the rates a little bit because, dang it. Sorry, Chris. That shouldn't be that hard. All right, one more time. Low battery. All right, let's see if I can get it this time before I land. There we go. So for a tiny whoop outdoors like this, it's pretty fun. It just can't be windy. As soon as there was a little breeze, I felt it very much. It doesn't have a lot of power to fight the wind, but if you're in a calm situation and you want to fly outdoors in a small area, it's great. I'd love to hear what you think about these little analog tiny whoop racing drones. And if you're into racing them, like what you think about this guy. As a single person flying around in a space like this, it is a lot of fun. Just know that you're not gonna have the quality that you're gonna have with a digital transmission signal like HD0, Walksnail, or DJI. But if you're just trying to get into flying FPV and wanna learn how to do it, they make it really easy with this kit, that's for sure. Whoa, and we will hit the mic twice, and we will disarm. That was a disaster. All right, let's try that again. Let's try to stay away from the microphone this time.
Wow. Oh.
Oh. Premature wow. This is a little tiny whoop style FPV racing quad with a digital.
I wish.
Yeah, I mean it's. Oh. Oh. Okay.
Wow. Did you pat yourself on the back over there?
Yeah, little drone pad on the back.